No maintenance since March 2021, just letting them grow. And this is her first Congo. Definitely a memorable experience. Loving the Y shape of it going on here. And it's so interesting because the two locks that have married together normally would be more of a traditional freeform shape. Once they've Congoed up, they become this bigger, flatter lock. Big ups for sending in your photo. Loving the peppered gray in your hair as well. Much love on your journey. Peace and love. The good old dreadlock hair flip. Looking crazy. Really showing that length. Really showing that volume that's going on here as well. Such a cool shot. Really been enjoying feeling like a pineapple lately. Actually, yeah, the locks are very short in this photo, so it does seem like a pineapple top without it being bunched together in a ponytail type of do. These freeform locks coming in on a straighter hair, and this does lead to be them a bit frizzier than normal. And frizz is all part of the journey. Frizz actually helps our hair lock up. If it wasn't for the frizz, our freeforms actually wouldn't really take maturity as quick. So we definitely need to embrace that frizz. Loving the way that some of these tips are very wispy, and definitely can see that the locks have shrunken quite a bit as well. So this being a good thing in the dreadlock stage, because shrinkage means that the hair is matting together, and once it shrinks at the most that it can, all that there is left is for it to grow. So we must also embrace the shrinkage. Smiles. We got some traditional locks coming in here, looking like some twists. Very beautiful. I'm loving the volume going on here. And I'm loving the numerous amount of locks that she's carrying. Looks like there's a bit of a crinkle going on here as well. Definitely well over 100 locks on her head. Very cool. Thanks for submitting. Bobbing and weaving these locks here. Very interesting. Very bleached as well. These looking more like traditional twists than freeforms of any sort. We can see that there's been a bunch of bleach put in here. Not as much bleach to make them bleach blonde, but enough to make them a copper tone. Looking like he's got quite a bit of dreads on his head. And thinner locks actually can lead to breakage a lot quicker as well. This is why I encourage people to freeform thicker locks, because there's less likelihood for them to break in the future. Big ups. Yesterday and today. Dang, these locks were looking fantastic. Loving how they flipped over to one side real nice. In entirety, she had about 3 dreads that have Congoed together. And she did make that big chop at the end of this journey. Everyone's journey will come to an end at some point or another. Everyone is timed out differently. And this is the final result. Very, very crazy. Looking good. Looking happy and light. And it's a whole nother journey to be able to embrace a bald head as well. This is what I've been learning lately as well. There's a subreddit called r/bald, and it's about people that are losing their hair and they want to commit to shaving their head fully down and letting go of any male pattern baldness that might be evident. So I've been really appreciating people that can embrace going bald, because it is a bold look, and especially to do the complete 180 from beautiful thick freeform locks like this to embrace the baldness here. It is definitely courageous, and I salute the efforts here as well. It also makes me feel like one day in my life I would like to try this same look myself. Not anytime soon, but one day in my life I will for sure. Big ups. And lastly here, just on that side note, it seems everyone thinks I used a bald filter at the end of my Nazarite vow. Here are my 4 locks besides my head. So she actually had 4 locks on her head. Cut, and they were cut off pretty clean. Doesn't look like there was any buildup, debris, dandruff, lint in these locks as well. These freeforms were very clean. And that is the shaved remnants as well. So cool to see that. 3 years strong, freeform from the beginning. Crazy. I like to see how the bottoms here have like, these don't look like they've been bleached, but more of a sun dye that's happened here. Dude must spend a lot of time outside in the sun for this to happen. We can see the thick mats of locks that have formed. They have definitely been an appreciative journey. Loving the way that they've congoed up as well. Frizz on top, being embraced. What more can you ask for? Salute. Naughty Dread. Naughty Dread. Now, are these wicks or are these freeforms? The characteristics of them seem like they've been crocheted together at some point, but I'm not entirely sure. I think they look fantastic. More on the baby dread stage. They're a bit shorter at this time. We still need to get a lot more hang time going on here, which will be accomplished with patience and virtue. Freeform lock jewelry from the kid next door. A lot of beads going on here. Wooden beads, metal beads. Can't really see what type of jewelry they are, but they are definitely peppered in there quite a bit. It's cool to see people using different types of lock beads in their hair. I personally don't wear any type of lock jewelry, but I have seen it done quite a bit. Now, I do notice it's more popular amongst Caucasians with locks opposed to the black community, but that's just an observation. I'm not really sure why it is. Personally, I don't wear jewelry in my hair because it tends to clank and bang off of things, especially my face. At times, I've had beads clank off my eye, clank off my teeth. And it's not a nice feeling, so I just like to keep it natural. But big ups on your jewelry phase, looking good. And this being just another close-up of the beads that are in the dude's hair, looking like they're more of a metal clasp, a clamp, than a wooden bead. These being much lighter than the wooden beads, so these are probably the better way to go when wearing dreadlock jewelry. And the fact that they're like more towards the root and the center of the locks is much better than having them at the ends and the tips, because it's the tips that are beaded up that tend to smash and clank against things on the face. Christ is coming back soon. Who's ready? Yo, these freeforms are wild. Super extravagant. Insanely impeccable. Looking like they've been wisped on the tips, congoed and embraced with the frizz. These are cool. And I love the black and white filter on this photo. It definitely helps to see the texture of these locks as well. Very lengthy. Must have been on this journey for a long time already. Fresh wash out. It's funny to me how much this guy reminds me of my brother Brendo. Looks very similar to Brendo. Except this guy's locks are very unique. I mean, all of our freeforms aren't unique to our own. But when you're able to grow an antennae lock like this, it is just remarkable. So cool. It's neat to see how the gray hair is being peppered in as well, just embracing that natural change in the pigment of our hair color. Now this lock, this big Congo up top, eventually will fall down if it hasn't already. This might just be posed for the photo. And it's cool to see how it's joined up from like 3 or 4 or 5 different locks right on the top of his head. Reminds me of Rich Dunk's lock. Rich Dunk would have all this put in there as well. Very unique, very free-formed. Can never be duplicated or replicated here. Approximately 8 months locked and loaded. Still in that baby dread stage. Got a bead in here. Looks like a porcelain bead. Headband on fleek. Locks just coming down past the eyebrows. Still got a long way to go with this journey. I'm happy to see that you've decided to embrace and cultivate these locks at this stage in your life, brother. End of this chapter, new one will begin. It was a nice ride. Didn't cut it because of work, peer pressure, etc. Had my own personal reasons. Dang, so these were actually coming in pretty thick. Very curly hair type as well. Let's see what the after looks like. Oh, he went down to the fade, the box cut fade, rather than completely bald. And what a difference. He had his personal reasons. These locks got pretty long, and of course he would have gained a bunch of knowledge, wisdom, and experience from this journey, as we all do. And it's cool to see the before and the after for these dreadheads, and hopefully he will make a return to the lock game sometime in the future. Just came from a successful job interview. Initially he planned to go in a rap last night. I just had a bad feeling and decided I'm just gonna go as myself. I don't want to be in a workplace where I'm not wanted. I felt great going in, cool, calm, and confident, and killed it. God is great, and that's what I'm talking about. As long as we go in with the confidence, we shouldn't be ashamed or have to feel like we're forced to hide our hair in any way in our workplace. If you work in an environment where you are forced to hide or change the way your hair looks just to fit in, consider it to not be the right place for you, because we are to be embraced for our skill set and our mindset, and we can be professional with freeform locks. And dude went in definitely looking very professional with his attire as well. So big ups, hopefully you get that job. Keep on going strong, bro. Keep on going and going. You got the Gucci neck tat. Interesting freeforms, looking like they're still just reaching out of that baby stage, but we do see some Congos happening here already. Very neat, super thick, looking like they're coming in flat, a little bit on the fluffier side still. That's why I still think they're pretty new, but just getting into that maturity stage now. Very neat. Interesting to see the back of one's head, because this is the area that we don't really get to see ourselves on a daily basis. 2.5 years dedicated. Beautiful freeform locks coming in. Loving how people of all ages are freeforming. And what I notice is actually freeform locks are definitely more popular amongst adults than the youths. The youths are always into the traditional high top dreads that don't really last that long. And it's us adults that are able to hold and embrace and encourage ourselves to take on the freeform journey. With time and age definitely comes confidence and experience, so this does make sense. Looking righteous. Deb Lioness in the house. 2 years, salute to all the roots. Crazy. These are gonna be super Congoed in the future. You can already tell by the top of his head how thick and matted the frontal lobe is, even on the nape as well. So with it being so Congoed and so matted up, definitely better to not separate at this point. It will create much more unique set of locks. And at the same time, if you do feel like there is any uneasiness or uncomfort, then you can separate down the road quite easily. Better to do it later than sooner. But these definitely have some very good texture, a very solid start to your lock journey. The back of his head is one big clump, and he's not sure what to do about that. And essentially, as I just said, separate as needed when it's time, but let it Congo up for a while. Just keep it clean. That's the best thing you can do. Keep it washed. Make sure nothing builds up back there. They are fantastic. It'll be interesting to see how it turns out from that one big clump from here on out. Where are my freeform skaters at? Yo, I'm right here, dog. Yo, skating with freeform locks is definitely a thing. And it is harder than expected, especially when you wear your hair down. Hence why Buddy here is wearing his hair in a ponytail top, updo. I feel like it's definitely needed to wear an updo when skating because the locks fly around in the face and will hinder launching and landing tricks. So I am a skater myself. I more so rollerblade than skateboard, although I do longboard at times. But when I'm rollerblading, I always wear my hair either tied back, tied up, in a wrap, or secured with a bucket hat is another way to do it as well, or a baseball cap and a helmet. I have a few different looks that I go for when I'm rocking at the skate park. And here are some clips of me skating in different styles as well, so I hope you enjoy. Just a rude boy ting, you know. Big ups, Yard fam. These freeforms definitely in that baby stage, but Congoing up already. Check out the new growth. Inches of afro, which is great. A great attributing factor to the dreadlock journey. Just embracing those roots. I think these are coming along fantastic. Loving that gold chain with the barbell. You know, symbolizing that Mandem is working out and taking care of his health. A big thing to do. And it's important for us dreadheads to keep that in mind since we are here doing our best to live a conscious lifestyle with a conscious choice of hair type or hairstyle. We should be conscious about our health and wellness, so we should be working out as well for optimal hair growth at the end of the game, because the healthier our body is, the healthier the hair it can produce from the top of our head. These are insane freeforms. And talking about dreadlock jewelry in this episode, one big ass rasta bead which looks like the trunk of a bamboo tree, just hollowed out, dried and washed and dried and painted rasta on there. That's very cool, very unique. Dude's even rocking the crinkly dread beard as well. Phenomenal. These have taken years, decades of dedication. You can just see it in the man's eyes. They look insanely clean. I don't see a dust of lint or a particle of dust or nothing in there at all. The Congos are real. The length is insane. And it really shows the lock commitment that has been applied here over the years. So ultimately, this is like a goal set for us to intend to achieve in our journey. And by growing in the beard lock as well is just like the cherry on top. So big up the Rasta man. 3 years of personal growth. Cool. Looking like there's been some bleach tips going on here. These freeforms came in thinner and more cylindrical. It's always cool to see freeforms that look like traditional twists, because not all freeforms are going to be flat and clumpy. They're all different, and it does happen from time to time that freeforms will become very symmetrical. So these definitely could have been separated along the way to achieve this look. A lot of frizzy hair on top as well. You can see the clumpy patterns on the tips here that show that they have been freeformed as well. Numerous, a lot of dreads on his head, and this must have been at the beginning when he first had his locks bleached the entire head, and they've been grown out since. Crazy to see how brittle the locks look when they're bleached like this. This is why I would say avoid ever doing this to your hair. It's good that he's just done it one time and let it grown out since, because continuously doing this to your hair is definitely very detrimental. It looks like they have recovered over time. So big ups on that submission. Yo, I think this is the front of dude's locks that we saw earlier. Still very, very loose set of locks that are happening. Yeah, it's the same guy with that Gucci neck tat. So I feel like these locks are on a great progression. There's going to be some really good locks in the future. Just got to keep at it. And lastly here, we got freeform locks 4 years and 4 months in. Very nice. He's got some of those same metal beads going on here, metal clamps, a lot of frizz, some good length as well. Nice texture going on with these locks. You know, it's a good thing to see the freeform family coming together here on Reddit, submitting their photos of their dreadlock journeys. And if you haven't yet already, join us over at r/notnation to help celebrate, encourage, motivate, and inspire the current and future dreadheads here of the nation. I'm signing off. Big ups, peace out, and one love.